This is my roster video. Today I'll be showing off all of my diesel locomotives in my collection. I'll probably do a separate video for steam locomotives. I mean, I don't have nearly as many steam locomotives, but I think they deserve their own video. So yeah, here is all my diesel locomotives. Starting with the new run of Walters Mainline Gevo, this is number 960, DCC and sound. And I'm going to go pretty fast through most of these. I'm not going to explain too much. I'll just show some basic sounds. This is a Walters Mainline CSX SD40 ACE with DCC and sound. Although it needs to be sent back to Walters for some decoder reprogramming, because intermittently it'll have like weird buzzing noise. But here's the sounds. This is a Walters Mainline SD40 ACE. It was DCC ready, and I installed a Soundtracks decoder, and it runs very well. Yep. No sounds or anything, but it's still a good locomotive. Here is a Walters Mainline ST70. Pretty nice. It was DCC ready, and I installed a Digitrax decoder in it. It's a pretty nice locomotive as well. Runs really well. Yep. This is a Walters Mainline 8-40B. It is DCC and sound equipped, and it has some pretty nice sounds. So yeah, I really like this locomotive. This is a Broadway Limited CSX AC6000. I really like this locomotive. It's probably my favorite that I have in my entire collection. I don't know, it's just really nice. And the sounds are pretty cool too. This is a Atherin Blue Box SD40-2. It's a dummy, so there's not much to say about it. It's nice to throw in consists to add another locomotive to the mix. This is a Bachmann GP38 with a Soundtracks decoder installed. Not much to this. Has a bit of weathering. And it's just a nice locomotive to throw in consist. Not particularly special or anything though. Nice to have in the collection. This is another Bachmann GP38, except this one is sound and DCC equipped. I need to swap out the trucks on it for black ones because CSX never had silver trucks on their GP38s. But it's a nice locomotive. It has a bit of weathering as well, and it runs pretty good. This is a Bachmann GP40. It doesn't have DCC or anything because DCC install will be pretty hard, but I'm gonna put DCC in it eventually. Yeah, it's not a particularly special locomotive, but it's a nice addition to the collection in it. This is a locomotive I've had for a fairly long time. It's a Bachmann GP40 in the CHESSIE system livery. I put a Soundtracks decoder in it and weathered it a bit. It's a pretty nice locomotive. I like it. I still run it quite often. This is a Atherin Blue Box GP35 in the CHESSIE system. It's been pretty extensively modified. Um, the handrails are pretty nice. It's weathered. It has other details put on it, and you know, it's just a nice locomotive. It is a dummy though, but you know, it's nice to just throw in with other consists. This is a MTH GP38AC in the Maryland Midland scheme. It is DCC and sound equipped, and it's a pretty nice locomotive. I rather like it. I like the paint scheme too. Here's the sounds. This is a Atlas switcher chassis system. I can't remember the exact locomotive name. If you can remember it, put it in the comments. But yeah, it's pretty nice. It is DCC. Yeah, it's just a good locomotive to have around. Nice little switcher. This is a Atherin Genesis SD40-2 in the demonstrator paint scheme. You guys have seen this one if you watch some of my recent videos. It needs to be converted to DCC, but it looks pretty cool. It has pretty good details, and it runs well. This is a Atherin Blue Box Santa Fe -8. It is a dummy locomotive. It's been weathered. I think it's missing some handrails, but it's a pretty decent locomotive, and it looks pretty nice. This is a Atherin Blue Box GP38 in the CONRAIL quality scheme, and it has like the Philadelphia division patch on it. It's pretty nice. But I've had it for a long time. It was one of my locomotives that I got getting back into the hobby. Yeah, so I weathered it a few years ago. I think it looks pretty decent. And to go along with that last locomotive, we have a SW1500. This is a dummy locomotive. It's also been weathered. It just looks nice running the pair together. So this is a Bachmann GP40 with DCC. It's been weathered. It's missing a few parts, like the horn. I think I took it off to put on a different locomotive. But yeah, it was pretty cheap when I got it. It's not a terrific locomotive, but it's decent for what it is. This is a Proto 2000 GP7 in the Baltimore, Ohio scheme. Looks pretty nice, and it was a pretty good value because it had DCC and everything in it, and I got it for like pretty good deal. But anyway, yeah, these Proto 2000s are pretty nice, and I'm starting to like them. They have good amounts of detail, and they're reasonably affordable as well. This is a Bachmann Spectrum CONRAIL 8-40C, I believe. Yeah, these Bachmann Spectrums are alright. They're pretty good. They have a decent amount of detail, and they're really cheap. But putting DCC in them is a pain. But yeah, I like this locomotive. This is a Atherin Blue Box -9. It's pretty nice. The place where I got it from had already built it up, and it has all the handrails painted and couplers installed and everything, and all the detail parts. So it looks really nice. I want to put DCC in it. And along the same vein, we have an Atherin Blue Box -9. This one's a BNSF locomotive as well, and like the other one, it was built up when I bought it and has painted handrails and all the details out of the box installed. It's a power locomotive too, and nice to get some blue boxes into the collection. This locomotive is another favorite of mine. It is an Atherin ready to roll -9. It's a fantasy scheme with the Western Maryland, so it's kind of like a heritage unit, sort of. It's really nice. I like this locomotive a lot. I put believe it was a Digitrax decoder inside of this one, and it runs pretty well. This is a Bachmann GP40 with DCC on board. Yeah, it's pretty good locomotive. I haven't really actually run it that much. I haven't used it too much, but it's still a decent locomotive. This is a Bachmann Plus GP35 Union Pacific number 6763. It's pretty nice. It's missing a few things. I think the front handrails are gone. I don't know where those went. But yeah, these Bachmann Plus locomotives are pretty nice. Like the Spectrum's not too expensive, but you know, you get what you pay for. This is a Bachmann Spectrum, or I think it's a Bachmann Plus CSX GP30. I always like the GP30s. They're probably one of my favorite locomotive types. And get one in CSX is pretty nice. I got this locomotive for like dirt cheap, but it's a decent runner, and I want to put DCC in it eventually. This is a Bachmann GP40 in Western Maryland with DCC. I've had this locomotive for a decent amount of time. It's pretty good. But Bachmann DCC decoders aren't the best, but it still does its job. This is a Bachmann SD40-2 with DCC. It's one of those like former NS units, I believe. It's pretty interesting looking locomotive. Unfortunately, because of the way Bachmann DCC decoders are, it doesn't run well with any of my other locomotives. But it's still a pretty nice locomotive, and I've had it for a decent amount of time. It's also been weathered. This is a Bachmann F40PH. I got it in like some weird set. It came with a dummy and of all things, an Amtrak caboose. But it actually runs pretty well, and I like it. It's nice to have an Amtrak locomotive. I'm planning on getting a better F40PH eventually, but this will do for now. All right, and here are the last few of my locomotives. This one actually is in good condition. I just took it apart because I was planning on fixing it, but never did. Anyway, here's the rest. This is a NORFOLK Caterpillar. It's all metal, pretty nice. This is a FTA with DCC. This is an FTA without DCC. This is a B unit, Bachmann Spectrum. It's a lifelike GP38 high hood, but Santa Fe never had GP38 high hoods. Anyway, it's GP38 high hood, and this is another one as a dummy that I weathered a little bit. And I think that's pretty much it. I do have another F40PH. That's a dummy that goes with the other one, but I can't find it. That's about it. That is my entire locomotive roster.